Hey, how's everybody doing today? My name's George. I'm the head of sales here at Financial Sense, and I'm excited for the opportunity to get to go through this with you guys. Talk to y'all a little bit about Financial Sense, demo the product for you guys, show y'all a little bit about how the system operates, and help answer any questions that you guys might have. So, appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to take a look at this. Stick around till the end. I've got pretty good special for you guys as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Uh, so let everybody kind of get in. We still got some people that are joining. So give it just a minute for everyone to jump in. In the meantime, if you guys can, because I did this earlier today and I realized nobody could hear me. So if you guys can, please put in the comments section whether or not you can hear me. Also, let me know where you guys are calling in from as well. Love to always figure out where you guys are at. I'm personally based out of Houston, Texas, so I'm here in Houston. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. All right, Beth, thanks for letting me know you can hear me. All right, Sarasota, Florida, Alberta, Canada, nice. Green Bay, all right. They're my second favorite team, so I'll give you that, Erica. All right, Florida, all right. Grand Haven, Michigan, nice. Montana, oh man, you guys are got pretty landscape out there. Inverse, Florida, all right. Centennial, Colorado. Nice. All right, cool. I'll get us started here in just a minute. I'll share my screen and talk a little bit about the system. Um, Before we do that, just kind of give you guys, for those of you that don't know about financial systems, right? We are a workflow and practice management solution. So we actually offer everything from managing your workflow, understanding who's assigned to what projects we have that are coming up due, what our due dates are, to actually being able to bill and to track our time within the platform, bill, communicate with our customers, have a nice, clean client portal where the client can actually do more than just upload, download documents, right? We want them to actually be able to communicate with us. We want them to actually be able to see what it is that we need from them. And then also being able to set out automatic reminders, letting them know, hey, we still need this. We're going to see all that within the platform. Even being able to send out proposals and invoices and having them pay those proposals or pay those invoices or accept those proposals all through the platform, through one system that they're going to go to do everything that they need to. And for those of you that are doing bookkeeping, we actually even have functionality that does uncategorized transactions, where it actually reminds them, hey, or shows them, hey, here are the things that we don't know how to categorize. We need your help doing that. So we'll talk about all of that here in a bit and kind of jump into it. Just waiting for everyone else to jump in. Got a few more folks have joined in, Winnipeg and Calgary. Nice. I was actually in Winnipeg last year. All right. So let me get started by sharing my screen. Actually, before we do that, you guys see where the comment section are. It's where the comment section is. That's where you guys have been kind of posting. Directly underneath that comment section, you guys are going to see a Q&A button. If you click on that, that's where I'm going to be going to look for actual questions. It's what I'm going to have up on my screen. So if you guys have questions throughout this, feel free to ask them. I am going to address them. I am going to actually address them live so that we can actually see it on the screen. And just make sure you're putting your questions there so I don't miss them. I've got one of my team members on here as well who's going to be helping make sure I stay honest and answer all the questions. So Simone will keep me honest in here as well. So let me jump in real quick. And it looks like Simone posted in the Q&A showing you guys where to post the questions. So, all right, let's actually get started here. Share the screen. Let's go with the entire screen, and we'll pick this one here. All right. So you guys should be able to see my screen now. You should be able to see the mouse moving around. I'm going to be looking over here because that's the screen that we're actually going to be working on. So not ignoring you. But to start us off, what we're looking at right now is what we call the workflow dashboard. Okay. This is probably one of my favorite functions of the system because it gives you all the information you need to know really quickly, really easily in one place. Um, about as far as like what work needs to be done. So when you first log in, this is the screen you're going to see. You can customize this with all sorts of different reporting, and you can actually save those different reports in here so you can quickly, easily access them. You can even customize which one of these reports is your default view. So when you first log in, that's what you see. Now, every employee can customize this differently. So depending on the employee, they can come and actually see exactly what they need to be working on when they first log in. They can set that up as their default. Okay. You're going to customize this by using the filters that are listed up here at the top. Okay. If we look at this right now, you can actually see I've got no filters turned on. So I'm seeing everything because I'm logged in as an owner on the account. Okay. Because of that, I've got 282 total projects that are currently open in the account. That said, sorry. That said, if I want to only filter this down and I only want to see, say, the ones where we're waiting on the client to get us information back, I can actually come in here and filter by the tag, waiting on client. Okay. I can also filter this by other tags and say, I want to see the ones that are waiting on the client or are in process. Okay. So it's going to show me they have to have at least one or the other tag. It has to have the waiting on the client tag or it has to have the in process tag. Okay. So don't see any that actually have in process. Let's go to in preparation. Okay. So now I'm only seeing ones that have either in process or in preparation. If I want to see only the ones that have both of those tags, I'm going to say must have all selected tags. And you see here, it filters it down to just show the ones that have both. In this case, there aren't any that have both. So let's maybe go look at one other. Let's go to in review. Okay, there we go. So if I say must have both, then we only see the ones that have. Oh, that's why there's a third tag that I didn't uncheck. Who's the other one? Oh, that's why. Okay. In review. There we go. Now we're only seeing the ones that have both in review and waiting on the client. Okay. Now they could have other tags like this one here. That's all these here that have high priority. We can add those on. These tags can be added on manually or they can be added on automatically, right? So there are certain tags that you might want that are only going to be added on manually, like this high priority one. I can actually make that might be something I just add on manually, or even like we have some firms have one that are like stuck, right? Meaning it's basically like a way of employee raising their hand and saying, "Hey, I'm stuck." And you can have a report that says, "Show me anything that where an employee's marked that they're stuck." Right, that way you know how. Hey, this is one I probably need to go help out with. So you can customize these different tags. And you can have as many different tags as you'd like. But again, you can actually automate these so that as the employees are going through the projects and completing work, the tags are automatically adjusting. They're being added, they're being removed as needed. So no one has to remember to go do that. That said, you also have the ability to filter this by due date. So I can actually say, show me everything that's due, say, this month, right? Or instead of due date, I can actually look at it by the internal due date or by the start date and say, show me everything that is going to start this month. So we can customize it there as well. We can also filter it by the accounting period. So I can say, just show me the ones that are specifically for April of this year, right? So by doing that, it filters it down to where I'm looking at the actual accounting period for that specific project. Okay. That brings us down to only one, so I'm going to clear that. But I can also filter it by who the work is assigned to. I can filter it by showing me, instead of current assignees, meaning this is whose desk the work is currently sitting on, I can say just show it to me by all assignees. Okay. I can also filter by the actual client himself. So if I only want to see the things for John's Groceries, I can actually come in here and filter it by John's Groceries. And I can also filter by client group. Now, this is probably one of my favorite functions of the system. Client group allows you to do all sorts of different things. I can create groups for all my 1040 clients versus all my 1065s versus all my 10 or 1120s. I can create a group for all my payroll clients, a group for all my bookkeeping clients, and so on. Create a group for all of Simone's clients versus all of George's clients versus all of Will's. But one of the things that I think is really helpful with this is you can create a group for all of your all of the companies that a single individual owns. So if I've got a single contact, like a single customer who has 5 or 6 different companies, I can create a group for that. And then what happens is I can actually come in here and let's say that client calls in, right? I can actually say, filter this by everything that's a part of ABC Holding Company. And what that ends up doing is it pulls up all the different customers that are a part of that group, ABC Holding Company. And then now I'm on the phone with that person. And I'm actually able to say, hey, here's everything that we're waiting on you for, or here's where we're at with all the projects that we're working on for you. And it makes it really simple to be able to have these these different companies as different clients in the system, but also having grouped together as, hey, this is a family of companies, and if we need to do something on the family level, we can actually see everything going on. So it makes it really nice and simple, and very helpful to be able to get on the phone with the customer and tell them, hey, this is where we're at with everything that we're doing for you. So you can see that there. Some of the other things that I want to point out when you're looking at this, okay, the whole point of this page is to be able to give you good, solid information of what's going on. So just by looking at this particular project, I can tell that for Adeline Collins, we're working on our monthly bookkeeping for April of 2025. It's currently set up as a high priority. It's in review, but we're waiting on the client to get us some information back. I can see here that we've completed 5 out of the 13 tasks that we have internally assigned to ourselves. Okay. I can also tell that we've communicated about this twice internally. Okay. Meaning the team has reached out to each other twice. So I can see here where Will reached out to Casey asking him why that project wasn't done. And then Will reached out to me asking if I can update him on this, right? And then I can come back in here and actually reply back. And I can actually use the @ symbol to show me which employees we have on the system. And I can then start typing in that employee's name, and I can actually tag them in the message. Okay, so that they get notified that, hey, there's a new message on here that you were directly mentioned in. Okay. And I can actually say whatever it is I need to say. You know. So we can actually come in and actually add that message in. Will just got that notification. He'll actually see a little red dot next to it. And also in his notifications, he'll get a notification saying, hey, you were mentioned on this particular project. When he clicks on it, it takes him straight to that message so that he can actually see what's going on. But even if he's just here inside of the system, he's going to see a little red dot letting him know, hey, there's a new message in there that you haven't seen, right? So I can actually see here where Will messaged me. Now that I've seen it, you see that little red dot goes away, letting me know, hey, you've actually read that, but you can still go back in and look at it as needed. Okay. So I not only can I see the team chat, but I'm also going to be able to see, hey, on this case, we've requested 7 items from the client. We got 2 items back. That's why it's still sitting on waiting on client. Once a client actually gets everything over to you, we can actually have this tag auto change to show the client info has been received, right? That way you can actually have a report in here that says, show me everything where the client info has been received, right? And then it'll actually filter it down and show you the things that, hey, these are the projects where the client, you requested information from the client, you got everything back. You can actually start working on this one, right? We can also see what our start date is for a project, what our due dates are. If it doesn't have a due date, you notice it puts it up here close to the top, whereas everything else, right, is set up by the actual time frame. So like I've got a lot of these overdue projects, so we can actually see those, right? And in this particular case, I got a ton of overdue projects. I can go down to my next page and actually see, hopefully I'll see some that are finally, yeah. So there you go. So you see it filters it by the actual due date and sorts it by the due date for you. Yeah. Other thing that you'll notice, we actually can see whose desk the project is currently sitting on. I can tell that this is whose desk it's currently sitting on because this is showing show current assignees versus all assignees, which show me anyone that's just assigned to that project. Okay. Current assignees show you whose desk is it actually sitting on right now. Okay. That way, if I've got a question about it, I know who to go talk to. I can also see my actual time versus my budgeted time. So you can see here, if I'm tracking time against the project, I'll actually be able to see which projects I'm tracking time against. If there's a budget on that particular project, it'll show it to me. If I have actual time against it, which is over that budgeted amount of time, that actual time is going to turn red. So I'll actually be able to see there's a problem here. We've gone over what our budget is for that particular project. Okay. If we click into an actual project, so again, I'm going to clear these filters. Let's go look at, actually, I want to go look at a particular one. This is what we call the client dashboard. We're going to get to this in just a minute, but I'm going to just jump over here into this particular project because I want to show you guys over here when we're actually in a particular project, we can actually have different what we call sections. Okay. So I can have a section for whatever I want, really. But there's two types of sections. There's an internal section, okay, and then there's what's called the client section. Okay. The client section is the things I want the client to go do. So I'm going to send a request to the customer saying, hey, here's a list of things I need you to do. In this case, I'm saying I need you to upload your bank statements. I need you to upload your credit card statements, your loan statements. I'm asking the question, did you purchase new equipment? I'm asking them to go schedule time with me, and I'm actually asking them to upload something to Dex. So in this case, what I'm doing here is I'm actually requesting information from the client. I'm asking them to go do stuff, right? And I can actually create this checklist and then send it out to the client, okay, in an email that's going to look something similar to this. Now you can actually, on the scale plan, you can actually customize what this looks like. You'll see it'll have your logo. You can actually customize the verbiage on here. It actually has a checklist on the email itself showing the client, this is what we need from you. And then there's actually going to be a button that they'll be able to click on that takes them into the portal to be able to actually go accomplish those things, right? But that said, we can customize what this looks like here on the scale plan, okay? On the team plan and solo plan, you won't be able to do that. You won't be able to customize it, but you can still customize the actual request list itself. Yeah. This is where you would customize the emails that go out. You can pick different ones if you have templates. You can pick which contact at a client site gets the notification, and you can also pick what who it looks like it's coming from. So even though I'm the one sending it out, in this case, I want it to look like it's coming from Simone. So when I go to send this out, it's going to actually look like it's coming from Simone. So when I hit send notification and I send it out, the customer just got an email showing them that request list, and we'll actually go look at what that's going to look like here in a second. Okay. So you send out your request list. Once you get it back and you actually start doing your work, you can actually see here, we can actually customize what all needs to be done on here. And I can actually have subtasks within my tasks. I can assign these tasks to different employees. Okay. And I can even assign automations on here to where as I'm completing tasks, you guys will see that the tags are going to adjust. Okay. Again, the high priority tag, that is one that I manually added. So I can come in here and manually add these. Okay. But I can also have this to where as I complete the tasks, the tags are adjusting and showing what I need them to show. Okay. So as we complete this, those will update automatically. Okay. And you'll see not all of them are going to do that, but the ones that actually have these automation that are on there, those are the ones that are actually going to adjust. Okay. We can also add things like these subtasks. So like when I go to say reconcile accounts, depending on the customer, they might have multiple accounts that we need to reconcile. So I can actually list those out here. The cool thing about the way that the system is set up, these projects can be created off of templates. So, monthly bookkeeping, you're pretty much doing the same thing every month, right? For the most part, right? At least for most customers you are. So I can actually come in and have a template for that. So I don't have to recreate all of this every single month and set the automations every month. I can actually customize it, set it up once, and it's good to go. Okay. The cool thing is the way that the system, when you're doing the recurrence, because the system can auto recur, meaning when I'm done with this project, it'll set up the next month, right? Or on a specific date, it'll auto set up that month, no matter when I completed the other one, right? So if I haven't finished the other one yet, the new one will still get created. Or if I finish a new one early and I don't want it to recur until a certain date, I can set that up as well. But the thing is, when the project recurs, it recurs based off a customized version of this template. Meaning, I use the template to create the first project, and then I'm going to go in and make my adjustments. I'll add which accounts we need to reconcile. I'll add any, anything extra that we got to do for this client, or take off things that we don't necessarily need to do for this particular client. But I'm going to customize it to fit the client that I'm working on. Once I've customized it to fit that client, the next month or the next quarter, or however often we have this particular project recurring, it'll remember the customization that we made for this client, so that the next recurrence, it auto customizes it for us. Okay. And it'll keep doing that, especially if, like, I have a client, let's say that they're using Wells Fargo today. Next month, they end up switching over to Bank of America. I can go in and make that adjustment. And then when it recurs, it'll recur with the Bank of America instead of Wells Fargo, which is what it had recurred with for this current month, right? So we can make those changes and have it adjusted. It's smart enough to remember that and recognize that as well. Okay. So that said, we have these internal sections, and we can break these up by, however we want, whether it's by the type of service, or when things happen, or by who's working on it. But you can see here, we can have different people working on different tasks. We can even have multiple people working on the same task if need be. Okay. Also, on these projects, you can actually add resources. Okay. The resources are pretty cool because this allows you to create links to other systems that you need to use to work on this project, right? So, as an example, let's say I have a Google Drive folder that has all this client's documents in it. Okay. I've got mine already preset to populate in here, but all you would do is just create a link, Google Drive. You go find that particular folder in Google Drive that you want to pull up whenever you click on this link, and then you just copy and paste that link directly in here. Now that I have this, if I'm working on this client and I need to quickly jump over to that client's Google Drive folder, when I click on here, it'll take me straight to that client's Google Drive. Right. And I can go in, or maybe I have it take me straight to a specific document, or maybe I have it take me to Dex or to bill.com or to whatever system it is that I'm using. And it will take me straight to that client in that system, because we can have these links customized and added directly into the platform. Really helpful, especially if this comes up a lot, where it's like, hey, I don't know if this client's on ADP or if this client's on Gusto. I don't know if this client's using this system or this other system. So I can add that in there. And then if I'm not the regular bookkeeper working on this, or if I'm not the regular accountant working on this particular client, and I'm assigned this client, I can quickly come in and understand exactly what was going on with this client and exactly what we need to do. The other thing to kind of note on these individual tasks, you can actually add descriptions. So inside the actual task itself, you can actually add a description so your team knows exactly what needs to happen. Okay. We can even do things like automate that. When this task is complete, we can have the system automatically send out an email to the client, or automatically create another project for us. So there's all sorts of really cool automations that we can put in place on here as well. Okay. That said, I'll jump over to the client side so you guys can see when we sent out this request. I set it up to where it went out looking like it was from Simone. We went ahead and sent it out immediately. You can also set it up to where it's scheduled to go out automatically. Even whenever the project gets created, it will auto send, like, you can actually put it on the template to send out this request list to the client X amount of days before the due date, or X amount of days after the start date. You can even set it up to say, when I complete a certain section, then send out uh, the request list automatically. That way, we're not waiting on um, you know anything to happen. We're just saying once our team is done with this section, then we're automatically at that point we know we're ready to send out the request list to the client. So go ahead and do so. That way, our team doesn't have to go click anything else to get that out to the client. Nobody forgets to do it. So we have different dependencies that you can set up for as well when this email goes out to the client. So again, I'm going to go ahead and send it out immediately. On the client side, they're going to get a notification in their email. It's going to look. Oh, wrong one. There we go. It's going to look like this, where they get that checklist. It's going to say whatever we need it to say. You notice over here, it shows that it's coming from Simone, right? From our bookkeeper or our firm. But what's cool about this, you're going to see the email looks like it's coming from your firm, but it is actually coming from a no reply at mail.financial-sense.com. We do that to help manage and make sure that those emails don't go to spam. Okay. The problem with the no reply email, though, is that clients don't pay attention and they will still reply. Okay. So when they do reply, you notice that it actually goes to Simone because that's who I selected as the representative for my team. So in order to avoid you guys missing those emails from the clients, we have the system set up to where it automatically shoots out the reply to our actual employee. So once the client gets this, generally speaking, they're actually going to see this. They're going to see what they need to do. They're going to hit view and manage tasks, and it's going to take them into the portal. I cheated because I was already logged in. So I'm going to sign out real quick. And I'll sign back in. So when we hit view and manage tasks, it recognizes who the client is. It wants to verify their identity. So it's going to send them a text message with the verification code, which I will get to my phone right here. And then I'll just punch that in to be able to access the portal. So once I put that in, it logs me into the system. I can now see that request list. I've already uploaded some documents in there. I'm just going to delete those real quick. Don't have to, though. You can actually upload more if needed. But you'll see, like, I'll come in and I'll upload that document. The system will recognize, hey, it looks like you completed this. Go ahead and mark it complete. Otherwise, you're going to still get reminders because the system is set up in a way, right? On the scale plan, you can set it up to where you can turn on automatic reminders to where if the client doesn't complete a task, it'll remind them until they do. And it'll send out a reminder however often you tell it to. Okay. So it makes it really nice and simple because your team doesn't have to remember to then remind the client, right? You set it and kind of forget it. The system will keep reminding the client until they actually get it done. Cool thing to note, if the client actually marks this complete, but they haven't completed some of these others, when it sends out the reminder, it only reminds them of the things that they have not done. Anything that they have done doesn't show up on that request. Okay. That way they don't get confused and say, "Oh, I already did that. Their system must be broken." Whatever. It's gonna see that they've already done it, so it's not gonna request it. But again, I can add more things to this one. Right. I can come in here, keep uploading if I need to. On things like this, where it's like schedule time with me, what we've actually done here is on our end, right? We actually told the system, instead of having the client upload something, I want it to take them to this URL. Okay. And I changed what the button itself actually says. So what ends up happening is on the client side, we see the schedule time button. They click on it and it takes them to whatever system I wanted it to take them to. So in this case, it's taking me to the Calendly page so I can go schedule a meeting, right? Or it might have taken me straight to Dext or straight to whatever other system I needed to go. So you're actually directing the client to go exactly where they need to go to do whatever it is that they need to do, right? That way, it's easier for them to get to it, and which means they're more likely to get it done, right? So kind of the whole idea behind that and the point with that. So I know I've been talking for a minute, so I want to quickly stop because I see that there's some questions in. So I want to make sure I kind of run back before we get too far away from some of those questions. So let's see here. All right, we had a question here. Are the tags a generic system setting or user discretion? So the tags that we were talking about earlier on the workflow dashboard, you can actually customize these. So you can come in here and manage them. You can add whatever tags you want. You can choose whether that's going to be visible to the client in the portal or not. You can choose whether or not they recur with projects. But you can actually come in here and make them up. You can choose whatever color you want them to be, 100% customizable. Right. So completely up to y'all's discretion. And you can create as many tags as you'd like. All right. There's another question. Can you automate tags based on the age of the account? Not sure what you mean by automating them based on the age of the actual account, maybe of the project. You can't automate based on age, though. You could. You can either add them and remove them manually at that point, or you can automate like when this task is complete, add this tag, or when this section is complete, add or remove this tag. That's kind of how the automations on those work. All right. If you can add the link to Google Drive in resources, what's the need for the Google Drive integration? So the Google Drive integration, I use Google as a good example just because it's a quick, easy example of like what you can do with the resource links. And what I mean by what we're talking about there is this resource is here. But we actually do have a Google Drive integration. The Google Drive integration actually goes a little step further. It actually auto links to the client for you. So you don't actually have to go in and manually add it, but it will do the same thing. And then we're actually adding on to the Google Drive integration. It's also going to be with the OneDrive integration as well. But what that's actually going to allow you to do is here pretty soon, we're going to actually add the function that says when I upload the document, I want it to upload straight to Google Drive or straight, like when the client uploads their documents, it'll take it straight to Google Drive to a specific folder or to a specific folder in OneDrive. It'll sync up the folders automatically between Financial Sense and Google Drive. So everything's automatically backed up for you. So there's all sorts of really cool functionality that's coming with the Drive, with the actual integrations. If you want to know more about the integrations, Simone's actually going to be posting a link in the chat function with so you can schedule a one-on-one call, and one of our account managers or myself can jump on and actually talk to you guys about exactly what those different integrations do and exactly how they work. But we can talk about those one-on-one, see if it fits your needs. Okay. So there's another question. Can you repeat that about the client getting a text authorization? So whenever we were actually logging in as the client. So when we go to log in as the client, the system, if I'm not logged in, the system needs to verify the client. But we don't, most clients aren't going to remember a username. They're not going to remember a password. So we use what's called a magic link. Okay. Basically, the system is sending a link specific for that client to that client. So when they click on it, we need to verify that they are who that it's the right person signing in. So we do that by sending a text message verification code to the client. So when they actually hit continue, in order to verify them, it's going to send them a text so they actually get a verification code. Hopefully, if I use the newest one. So now they're actually logged in, right? So we know who they are. We're actually getting them logged in, but they don't have to remember a username. They don't have to remember a password. You don't have to be IT support to actually show them how the system works or to be able to get them access to the system. Okay. If you're using Calendly, does FC track the meetings? So no, it doesn't actually track the meetings. I was just showing Calendly as an example of like, I can actually have the system, if I'm asking the client to schedule time with me, when they click on schedule time, instead of sending them or telling them, I need you to schedule time with me, go to Calendly, go to my website, click on this link to take you to the Calendly page. We're just putting the link directly in there so it takes the client where they need to go. So it makes it really easy for them to get where they need to go and accomplish what it is that you need them to accomplish. They get it done a lot quicker that way. Okay. Let's see. I was told the clients only received verification via email. So no, they can actually get verification codes via email or via text. Via text, it's really up to them. It's just if they don't want to get verification via email, they can actually come in here and say disable the email SMS reminders and disable the email or the text message verification code. But that's on the client side that they would have to come in and disable that. So if you have additional questions on that too, Jennifer, I can go one-on-one with you and talk a little bit more about that. All right. So that is, I think, the list of questions that I saw. So remember, if you guys have questions, don't put them in the comment section. Put them in the Q&A section. That's where I'll be checking. So kind of coming back over here to the system. Again, when we're looking at the request lists, we're actually able to see, like, here's the requests that we have from the client. As the client completes this, you'll see if they actually complete all of the tasks, I'm going to just check them all off. Okay. The system is actually going on my end, right? If we refresh this, we'll actually see that waiting on client tag went away. I could have had it say whenever that task is complete, automate where the client info receive tag. It's helpful if I spell right. I can add it where the client info receive tag gets added. So it actually adds a whole separate tag altogether to let me know that, hey, the client info on this one's been received. So it'll actually adjust it for me. Or I can have it just where it takes away the waiting on client tag as well. It's up to you guys. But from here, if we actually go take a look in the system itself, you can actually see this is what we call a client dashboard. This is where you're going to see everything you need to know about a client in one place. I can see all the projects that we're currently working on for this client. I can see all my client notes in one place. I can see my uncategorized transactions for a client in a single spot. Any recent documents that have been uploaded, any client tasks that we're still waiting on, any recent activity that's occurred within the account where my employees completed a project or they spoke to a client or they opened a new project, whatever it might be. We can see all of that, the audit log for the client listed right here. We also have the list of contacts for the client would get listed over here. And then we also have this about section, which allows you guys to create whatever fields you want. So if I want to know the entity type, I want to know the client ID. I've got, do they have kids? Do they have whatever information I want? I can actually add this in here. And then what's nice about this is you can add as many of these fields as you'd like. You notice there's a whole lot more fields in here than what I'm actually seeing over here. That's because only the fields that are actually filled out is what ends up showing up over here. The great part about all this is that this information that's listed here is searchable. So if I go search for all my LLCs, if I go search for entity type of LLCs, it's going to pull up all the ones that I have their LLCs. If I go search for all the ones that have kids, it'll actually pull up all my clients that have kids. So it makes it really easy for you to be able to find out information that you need. Okay. You're also going to see there's a client chat feature. So on the actual client side, they can actually chat with you and communicate with you guys about specific projects. You can also see that there's the activity section where you can actually see what's going on with the client. You can tell what your active effective hourly rates are. You can actually add notes of like when you last contacted the customer, what was their attitude like, right? You can see your notes section where you can actually create different custom notes. You can even pin certain notes to the top so they're always up at the top. You easily be able to access them. You have a file section where you guys can create folders and you can decide which folders are visible to the client and which folders are kept internal only. Okay. We have a client vault where you guys can actually store sensitive information like usernames and passwords, credit card information, all listed in here, and then you can limit which employees actually have access to this. And everything in here, of course, is the whole system is encrypted, but this just has additional encryption levels on top of it. Okay. We also have the transactions piece. This is a really cool function for those of you that do bookkeeping because our CADS work, because this is actually going to show all the uncategorized transactions out of QuickBooks. It's going to push over here. And then you're actually able to set that up to where the system will automatically send a list of them to the client. So the client can actually go in and tell you what it is that they purchased, what those transactions are for, so that you can then come in here and categorize it correctly. And when you categorize it in financial sense, you can approve it, which will then push it to QuickBooks, and you can approve in bulk. You can categorize in bulk. What's also nice about this is the client can actually send you the receipts and invoices, which will then, when you approve this and categorize it correctly, it'll push those invoices, the copies of those invoices into QuickBooks as well. So that when you go look at the transaction in QuickBooks, you're seeing everything that you saw here, including the receipts, invoices, and all. Okay. Saves you guys a ton of time from actually having to download that spreadsheet, send it out to the client, hope that they get it done, and then get it back to you. Because with this, you also have automatic client reminders as well. So if the client doesn't complete it, it's going to keep reminding them until they actually get it done. So I'll stop real quick and try and do a better job of stopping, make sure I get the questions answered. So looks like, can notes be used for meeting notes? Absolutely. So if you go into the notes section, you can actually add a new note. You can title it. So I can say, meeting on, 4/22, 2025. And then I can actually come in here and type out my notes. I can actually add bullet points. All right. I can add whatever I need to, attachments, links, all that in here. So it makes it really nice and simple for you to be able to come in and take your notes, and then you're easily able to access those down the road as you need to. Okay. And of course, like I said, if you got a ton of notes in here, you can actually pin certain notes to the top so that the relevant ones stay at the top. All right. Let's see what other questions we got. Can the uncategorized transactions be linked to several accounts in QuickBooks Online, such as Ask My Accountant or uncategorized assets? Absolutely. So if you actually look, here's your chart of accounts for QuickBooks. And then you can pick which accounts you want it to link to. So then it'll pull out of those specific accounts and then show those over here so that you can then send them out to the client. You can choose to unshare it. So if you're like, oh, I already know what that is, I don't want that to be shared with the client, you can keep it from being shared with the client, or you can go ahead and have it auto share everything or auto share just certain ones. It's really up to you. Okay. Do you set up our clients and projects? And if so, is there an additional fee for this service? So yeah, we can actually help set up the clients in the system, and we can help set up projects as well, set up templates. Depends on your particular situation, what all you need. We have migration services. So if you're coming over from another system, we can actually migrate everything over. We have onboarding services where we help train and set everything up for you guys. And we also have just outright training services where we just help train you guys. But training comes with the onboarding and migration services as well. We do charge for that. And if you guys hold out till the end, I've actually got some pretty good promotions that we're offering right now. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Cool. So, some of the other things that you guys are going to see within the system is, of course, the billing functionality. With billing comes proposals and invoicing and all sorts of really cool things, like being able to see your unbilled time reports. You can see which clients you haven't billed for. If I actually see, like on this one, we got 2 unbilled times, I can actually select this and have the system go create the invoice directly from here. Or if I'm actually in the invoices section, creating an invoice, once I select the client, I can actually come in here and add unbilled time directly in from here. And then I can add other services that we're charging for there. We can do recurring invoices. We can do one-time invoices. We can auto charge clients. if we already have the payment method on file, or we can even say send out for the initial invoice. After that, automatically do the, so if I select like a recurring, I can say once, since we don't have the payment method on file right now, I can actually send it out and say, once we have the payment method, enable auto pay after that for the first invoice. We can even set up automatic client reminders. So if we're just sending out the invoices and waiting for the client to make payment, the system will remind them every so many days, hey, this invoice is still outstanding. Once they pay the invoice, the reminder turns itself off, right? So really cool functionality built in there. You also have the proposals piece, right, where you can actually have templates, right, set up automatically, or you can come in and customize a proposal for a client. If I use this off of a template, I create my template, and then I can come in and just pick which client I want this to go to. Who at the client site needs to be the signer or signers if I have multiples. I can actually have the system set up to where it sends out auto reminders for the proposal as well. So if the client hasn't signed the proposal within 6 days, send them a reminder, right? Or if the client hasn't signed it within however many days, send out a reminder. We can tell it to the proposal start date is going to be either upon acceptance or upon a specific date, right? So we can customize that. We can have a video built into the proposal itself. So if you guys have a video of your firm talking about your firm, you can actually add the link to that in here, and it'll embed that video into the proposal. You can customize your messaging that goes out to the client. You can also create packages. So you can actually have multiple different packages. I think you're going to have, on the scale plan, you can have up to 3 different packages for the actual services. So I could say, hey, here's my bronze package, right? Here's my silver package. I think this one, the only difference is I added payroll, right? And I can have an additional package if I want to. We can also make certain services like optional. So we can say, hey, let the client choose if they want to add this on or not in here. And then when we hit continue, we can actually choose how we're willing to collect payment on the client. So we can say, hey, Mr. Customer, we're only willing to accept ACH, or we're only willing to accept credit card payments. And we can also make the payment piece of this required, meaning the client has to enter their payment information so we have it on file at the very beginning of the, so that way we're not ever waiting on them to make payment. We actually have their payment authorization, and we can go ahead and collect payment as the invoices are due, if you want to turn that function on. You can also add in your engagement letters, or you can actually come in here and add terms and conditions in here. Once we hit preview and send, we can actually see what the email initially is going to look like to the client. Then we can go ahead and send that out to the client, so that then on the client side, they're going to get the email. It's going to look something similar to this. They'll hit review and sign. They'll see that video. They'll see the messaging that we talked about. They'll hit continue. They'll be able to pick which package they want to go with. I'm going to go with the silver. It shows them what's included in the silver package, and you can actually have the scope of work written out for each different service that you're offering. You notice that this doesn't allow me to move forward until they actually scroll all the way to the bottom, right? That way you can show that, hey, you've seen this, right? You know what was included in this. Once they hit continue, if you have it set up to be required, they have to enter in payment information. If you don't have it required like me, they'll be able to skip it and just continue on. But they can actually take, we can do ACH, we can do credit card. If you're in Canada, I think discount, I have it set up for Canadian, so they do the pre-authorized debit. You can do that there. Once you hit continue, they'll be able to see their the actual terms and conditions, right? They'll go down to the bottom. They'll be able to accept. Once they click accept, they're actually able to then sign. And once they sign, it now triggers a work to get created and the projects to get created, and lets your team know, hey, we got a new client, or this client signed their engagement letter for this year, whatever it is that you want it to do. So it makes it really, really simple for you to be able to get those and then actually be able to collect payment from the clients as well. Other big part about that is on the client side, inside the actual portal, they're now able to see their invoices. And they're actually able to pay their invoices. They're also able to see their proposals, and they're actually able to see, like, go back and actually look and say, okay, let me view that signed proposal that I have. I've signed this one several times, but this is also a demo account, so you'll see it in here multiple times. But they can also manage your payment methods, right? So credit card went bad, expired, they can come in and update that information. You give them an opportunity to actually manage your accounts, and they can do everything that they need to do. All of the communication they need to have with you is all done in one portal in one place. Makes it really easy. They can, again, manage their billing, categorize or uncategorized transactions, communicate with you. They can actually see their documents, and of course, they can actually see the requests that you have for them and update those as needed. Okay, so it makes it, again, really simple. If you're not using like uncategorized transactions for this particular client, then they're not even going to see the transactions piece in there. Or if you haven't sent them a bill yet, they won't see the billing in there. So they'll only see what you've actually done with them. Or if you turn off the chat feature for that particular client, it'll turn it off. They won't even see it. So you control what they're seeing, and you control what they're actually able to do. All right. So I know we've only got a few minutes left. We've got about 8 minutes, so I want to go through and see what other questions we have. Make sure I'm answering those as well. Can clients see the time on our projects? No, clients won't actually be able to see when you're tracking time. They won't be able to see that unless you add it to the invoice and show this is how much time we spent on something. But they're not going to actually see, like, this is how much time I budgeted. This is my actual time on it. You guys internally can see that, but they won't be able to see it. Is the auto charge through Financial Sense or QuickBooks Online? Is there a fee? So yes, you would have a merchant service account through us, and not through QuickBooks. And we can migrate it. If you have a QuickBooks account, you want to migrate it all over, you can. Our fees are actually only 2.9% on the credit card transaction fees, which you're actually able to push over to the client. So you can pass the credit card fees along to the client if you choose to. And then the ACH is only 1%, but it's capped at $5, whereas I believe QuickBooks is 1% capped at $15, I believe, is where they're at right now. So, okay, let's see. For time tracking, is a timer on the project the only way to track time? So, no, if you're actually looking on your end, you can start an actual timer, but you can also do manual entries in here as well. And you can either do like a clock out or time in and out, or you can do a duration and say, I spent X amount of time on this particular project. So once you select the client, it'll actually show you what projects you have open for that client. Once you select the project, you can, if you want to get as granular as going down to what particular task you were working on, you can track it all the way down to the task level, and then actually say which employee it was that was tracking the time, and add any notes that you need to add in there as well. Okay. Let's see. How would you recommend tracking time on a one-off task? For example, the client asked me to look up how much was spent on fuel last month. So if you're going to do something like that, Jennifer, I would just come in and say track time, do a manual entry, or do an actual timer. It doesn't matter. But when you track the time, you can just track it against the client and then add a note in there of what you did. You don't have to select a particular project. It's something like that. Okay. But it still gets credited towards that client, which is great because if you actually look, we actually have some really great reporting. One of my favorite reports is the realization report, where you can actually see by client how much hourly billables did we have, what was our fixed billables, what are our total billables, what did we actually bill the client, did we have to write anything up or down, what was the actual realization, and then what was our labor cost. So you can actually put the labor cost of each employee in the system so that when you're actually going, when they're tracking time against a particular client, against a particular project, we can come back and look at a project and tell whether that project was profitable or not, because we know which employees were working on it, how much time they spent on it, how much you actually charged for that project, and was it actually profitable or not, right? So we can actually see all that in one place. And again, that report is probably one of my favorites that we've recently released, because you can actually see the gross profit, the actual margins. We also have the utilization report that you guys can see. There's a client uploads report, so you can see if client recently uploaded something, where they uploaded to, and then you can quickly click on open folder, takes you straight to that folder. You can look at your accounts receivable, so your AR aging report. You can see here your revenue insights report. This is really cool because you can actually see per client how much you're making. I can actually select specific clients, or I can select specific groups of clients. Remember, I was talking early on the demo, talking about how you can create a group of clients for, like, I've got a single owner who has multiple companies, right? Well, if I'm looking at that, maybe I'm working on one of his companies and we know we're not really profitable on that particular one, but overall as a group, we're really profitable. I can actually see all that here, and I can actually go say, show me everything that's a part of, the ABC holding company, and then it's going to update. Okay, I'm on average getting 6,000 per client from this particular individual, right? This is how much revenue I'm making per employee. This is what, or how much revenue I'm getting per employee. My total revenues. This is what I'm getting. Um, the total revenues looked at by month, right? We can look at it by service item. We can look at how many proposals were accepted in what months, or what our trends look like. We can see all that in one place, and you can also filter up here your time frames that you're looking at as well. So, pretty cool functionality overall. Um, Also, some really good work insight reports that we've recently released, showing you how many projects have been completed, how many were completed on time versus overdue, the individual team members' performance, how many projects have they closed out, how many do they have open. We can see all that in one place. Okay. Let's see. For billing, can they make partial payments? I believe we can actually do like partial payments through deposit billing, but I probably recommend jumping on a call with us one on one. Let's take a look at that one on one and figure out exactly what you're looking for, because we can probably make it happen. I just need some more clarification on exactly when that would be a situation or what you would need to do, because there are other ways of being able to collect payment versus, just a credit card and ACH. There's different ways of being able to do that. Okay, can you manually input data for those revenue insights? There are some different ways of doing that. Again, that's a report that I recommend we come in and actually take a look at one on one to help better understand it. It's a tough question because there's a lot that kind of goes into it. So I definitely recommend let's get on a one on one call to talk about that. Okay. Is there a Sage Intact integration? Not yet, Beth. So we don't currently have a Sage integration, but we do have Zapier integrations, which will allow us to work with Sage that in that direction. So, all right. I know we got about a minute left, and I wanted to really quickly. I'm going to have Simone launch a poll real quick. Let's just get that part taken care of, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the things that we're currently offering right now. So, Simone, if you can go ahead and launch that. Mhm. Okay, we'll go ahead and close that. So you guys know some of the things I've been kind of teasing about. We've got some different promotions that we're going to be offering right now. So until the end of the month, we're actually offering 10% off for anyone that signs up on an annual account for any of the accounts that we have outside of the solo, just the team and scale plan. But we're also going to do free onboarding. So that's usually 500 US, 650 Canadian, depending on where you're at. But we're also going to do free onboarding, which is going to allow our team to actually come in and help you guys get the account set up the way that you guys need it, and then also train your team on how to use the platform. So pretty cool, really good functions that they're going to help out with, because it's actually multiple sessions that you're going to get with the onboarding managers. They're also going to be able to provide you guys with best practices. They'll be able to help set up the billing, basically everything that you need to actually get up and running and get you guys started correctly. So if you have questions about that, if you guys want to actually schedule some one-on-one time, we're going to drop the link to actually schedule with one of our account managers. Simone just dropped it in to the chat function. Well, I guess that was 24 minutes ago she dropped it in there. So you guys can go see that. Click on that link. You can schedule with one of our account managers. They'll be more than happy to set you guys up with promotions, as well as actually set you guys up with a one-on-one demo, helping answer any additional questions y'all have. So appreciate y'all's time. Appreciate you guys spending a little extra with me. But if you have questions, if you guys need anything, please let us know. We're here to help out. Again, thank y'all all and have a wonderful day.